when I was in the process of planning this next virtual course, my guides basically said, Linda, do the next course about the opportunities for soul evolution that tie to loss. So we're going to talk about loss in all kinds of ways in this course. And yes, of course, we'll talk about loss through physical death, human passing and that sort of thing. But we're going to look at loss from all kinds of avenues of losing a friendship, losing a romantic relationship, losing a job, losing the health we thought we had. And it just kind of goes on from there. Spirit basically said to me, look at those, Linda, spend time with a group talking about how does our soul and how do our guides bring to us these opportunities for soul evolution that on the surface look so challenging, like suddenly our work changed, or suddenly our health changed, or suddenly a friendship changed, that if we only look at that from the vantage point of, oh my gosh, this is really, really awful, then we lose that broader perspective. And I began to think about what are some of those elements of my own life that pertain not just from loss through someone dies, someone passes. Think about, each of you, think about for a minute a loss, if you can contain it to one, just to begin to think about that. Think about a loss that years ago you perceived as horrendous or difficult, or how would I get through this, that you ultimately came to discover was extremely important and useful, and probably you came to discover that your higher self and or a guide served it up as an opportunity for change. So I'll start just share one, not necessarily small, but one loss that I've walked through in my life that over time, back years ago when I was digging into therapy and issues for myself, I thought was awful, came to be a very valuable, what we might call loss. So just simply explained, I'm the younger of two children. I have an older brother who's 3 years older. And in my family, because of a lot of issues tied to my mother's life and growing up, my brother was the person she paid so much attention to. She was worried about this and worried about that. And she really didn't hold him to be, he was responsible for schoolwork, but he was really not held to be responsible for home chores, home responsibility, and anything other than school. So long ago in my own current life, long ago, I thought that was awful. And why did she pay so much attention to him and not to me? And I think in today's way that I'm talking about loss, I would have seen that as a loss issue. Long story short, because she pampered him and babied him and, doted on him, and I wasn't pampered, babied, or doted on, what I came to figure out is that, then I had to dig down deep and just be in charge of me and being responsible and getting on with my life, and not expecting for my mother to do all that doting on me. So I was forced, or had the choice to make, of just taking charge of me and taking charge of my own life and not relying on someone else to do that. I mean, I certainly grew up in a household where there was food on the table and the house was clean, and my father worked and my mother was the domestic person. But I didn't end up, for probably lots of reasons, expecting other people to take charge of my happiness. I learned to take charge of my own happiness. Well, today I don't see that as a loss issue at all. I see that as, oh, that was probably beneficial that I had to dig in and take care of me. So that's just one example of loss that becomes this opportunity for growth, this opportunity for being accountable, and this opportunity for ongoing evolution of my current life and probably of my soul. So where we're headed with this next 4-month course is to look at we could call them losses, but we could call them segues in life that brought us to a crossroads. We're going to be looking at what I might like to call the road less traveled. So it probably is true for each of us. It certainly is true for me, where something didn't work, there was a loss, there was an ending, the expectation of what I thought I was going to do or where I thought I was going to go with my life. I came to this crossroads. Probably each of us would say we took the road less traveled, or we took the road we least expected, or we took the road that had not been in our conscious mind as where we were headed. And so we're going to look at that in many different ways throughout this 4 months. And of course, what's going to be brought in is what's coming forward intuitively, what's coming forward for each of us in the course intuitively. I'll bring in information, as you all know, I'll bring in information that's coming either to me or to Earl, that's coming in from our guides, because I think I'll put it this way: Spirit, the higher realm, uses, in the most positive way, uses each of us as not young souls to keep massaging progress on this planet. And so I'll be bringing that in, and I want you all to bring in as well what's coming forward. And I'll be sharing what I'm learning moment by moment, or day by day, or week by week, as to the shifts that are going on in the higher realm that are being played out in each of our lives, and how that's meant to help humanity. And obviously, at times, each of us will keep going through little losses, and maybe somewhat more than just little losses, but bigger than little losses. It really doesn't matter how old we are chronologically. We keep seeing changes in our life. We keep seeing new opportunities, meeting new people, new segues. And that's because each of us has agreed to be purposeful on the planet at this time. Are any of you noticing opportunities or changes in your current life and sort of currently that you're surprised about? Whether that's work, whether that's volunteer, whether that's people in your life. Anybody noticing changes that just are coming out of the blue that are surprising? Where our guides want us to be going is immediacy. That's immediacy that each of us in our lives needs to be current and in the middle of immediacy. What's coming up right now that is about moving forward on our path with our purpose?